Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Salla at Card Times Ahead. Today I thought I would show you what's inside this little journal that I made. I have been working with this in one of my lives, but for the most part I have made this on my own, not filming. I started this project back in June when it was still Junetober. Junetober was partially hosted by Petals and Parchment, so she actually made two kits for the event, and they are both for sale on her coffee shop, and I will link those kits down below. So for the most part I used the Moonrise Masquerade kit for this one, but I also included some elements from the Sleepy Hollow kit, which is also from Petals and Parchment. Like I said, it's a small journal, like you can see compared to my hands. You could still write in this really easily, but it measures 3.5 inches, I think. Yes, 3.5 by 5 3/4. And it's about 1 3/4 thick, so it's a little bit chunky, but not too much. And in centimeters, that's 9 by 14.5 centimeters, and the thickness is about 4.5 centimeters. So let's take a look. I just used some satin ribbon for the closer, just wrapped that around the journal and had it tied that way. It's an endless journal, accordion journal. I think some people even call these flip-flop journals, not sure, but beloved child has many names, I guess. But yeah, I kept the covers fairly simple. I just did some simple collage, but yeah, it has two covers and it doesn't really matter where we start, but I'm just going to start here. I included a mask from the kit, a floral, then there's the dance card or whatever I should call that, and I also used one of my one of the papers that I used whenever I was inking something or something like that on the background. So there's that. And then there's some tulle as well, and of course lace. The reason why the cover looks like this, you know, the sides of it here, is because I had a little bit of a mishap when I was making this journal, or constructing this journal, I should say. It's the first accordion journal that I've made, really, so I did not realize that the covers cannot be wider than the signatures. Otherwise, when you open it, it won't lay flat because the covers are hitting each other like so, if they are bigger than the signatures. So I actually ended up having to cut my covers smaller, and usually I just wrap some paper around the edges, but because I cut them, I felt like the cardboard box pieces that I was using for these covers looked a little bit untidy, so that's why I decided to put some washi tape around the, you know, sides to cover all the unprettiness. I could have just left it, but I just wanted to make it look a little bit neater. So here's the first page. Of course, as I almost always do, I included a pocket with an invitation to the Masquerade here. It's really rare that I don't put a pocket in my covers. I don't know, it's just something I do. Then I took a crow from the Sleepy Hollow kit and some washi tape just to decorate it a bit. And here on this side I have kind of like a belly band with hidden layers. So I have one piece here. Come on. Just a journal card. So it goes between the layers of the belly band. There we go. I think this is fun because it also adds an additional layer to the cluster that I've got here. And then there's a Masquerade. I think this is like a movie poster or something like that, not sure. But it was in the kit and I wanted to include that. Then I had some writing space. I used some PET tape from my stash and just simply mask there. Another little cluster with some tulle and some elements. I cut some of the, or when I printed the pages, some of the pockets were too small to use as pockets. So here I just used one of them as a background layer. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's there. Then I included, whoops, I really hope I've been in the frame because I have not been looking because the screen was black. But there's just a simple tag with some collaged pieces. There we go. Let's put that there. On this page, I included this little hidden journal spot. You can, of course, also write on the back, but I decided to leave some more writing space. And there's just a side tuck that holds it in place. A mistake that I made with this journal is that for the most part, I put all my pockets and whatnots, tucks, decorations on the bottom. So by the time when I realized that, I only had a few pages left. So I tried my best to balance it by decorating the rest of the pages on the top, but it is a little bit flimsy. It's sturdier here than it is in here. So there we go. This is one of the journal cards that I made in the live. And this tuck I made in a live too. I should probably remember to link that down below as well. And here is just a simple tag on the other side. Another small tuck for a journal card to hold it in place. And then I included a small pocket with two plain tags from the kit. I don't think these need really that much decoration, do they? They're so pretty. I love the lacy texture. Then just a really simple 3-piece collage here with some stenciling. I used the Tim Holtz stencil all through this journal. This one. It's one of the, I would say, most recent ones. Not really recent, maybe like a year ago or so. But anywho, it's from Tim Holtz. Here's another of those journal cards with collaged background and some PET tape. There we go. And fun thing about these journals is that you can always open them bigger. So if you would like to work on 4 pages, for example, at once, to give yourself more room to build a scene like I have done here, that's possible. That's something you can't really do in a traditional journal unless you include just flaps and so on. But I just wanted to create this little ball scene with the pairs and single dancers taking part in the ball or masquerade. And here is another. This is just a cluster, I think. Yep, I did not make that into a pocket or anything like that because I felt like this was plain enough that you could write on it if you wanted to. So there we go. So just some collage with washi tapes and pieces of paper. This is actually a hem of a skirt that I used right here. And yeah, there's some washi tape running on the side as well. Here is another piece that I made during my live. I thought this was fun. These elements are from the Sleepy Hollow kit, because like I said, for the most part I used the Moonrise Masquerade, but for example this is almost completely from the Sleepy Hollow kit. I think I called this my Halloween journal at first, but I think it's more like a Masquerade journal. Creepy Masquerade or something like that. So here's the second cover, because when we flip like so, we can just keep flipping. That's the fun part. Here's a little envelope that was in the kit and that I decorated with some ladies and a mirror on the back. And of course there's also a little piece. I just added some PET tape right here to give it some sort of a word. It says Paris. I thought that would be suitable somehow. Let's tuck that back in so that we can continue. And here is, I used quite some gel pen to create some more details or decoration. I don't know if you can see the shine on camera, maybe not. But here I used some silver before I realized that I should have probably used some gold. Anywho, and here I used a gold. Maybe I went a little bit too crazy on that one, but you know. I have a fun new punch, which creates the fleur-de-lis corner, like I have here. So I used that, and then I just took one of the journal cards or images from the kit and made that into a journal card. Here we have a pocket with another layered image from the kit. So there's the tag. And here I don't stamp much. I should do it more often, but I tend to go for the stencils and so on. But I am trying to use my stamps more. So I just stamped a little, I think that's called an umbellifer, not sure. But I stamped a plant on the background. And then just made a collage that I would think that suits the theme. Here, this is one of the attempts to save the bulkiness on the bottom part of the journal. So I made a thin pocket on the top with multiple layers and then layered some more elements on top of it and even added some prats there. And here we have, this is just, I used quite a few scraps from Petals and Parchment that I had in my stash to build this little notebook. I think these are, I tried to go with pages that are subtle enough so that you could write on them, and of course there's always the white space that you could use for writing. So anyway, that's where it lives, and I just did a small collage on the front to decorate it a bit. Here we have a really simple journal card with some lace and a mask. And also just 2-piece collage. It doesn't have to be that complicated. You can just put 2 pieces down and call it a day, basically. And of course some stenciling running through the pages, as there has been this whole time. And here is another kind of hidden journal spot or a pocket. So I built this cluster with some lace and then a few pieces and papers from the kit. But this one, it's on the back and it comes out. So it kind of, when it's on its place, it adds another layer to the page, but you can also take it out and write on it. I think things like that are cool. Here I added some lace and tulle to create some more extra texture. And then I just layered pieces of paper, pieces from the kit, you know, a little bit of everything. Here we have more top page decoration ideas. So this is just a tuck with a journal card. There we go. Here you can see me, or my doodles. I just drew squiggly lines around the image and then did some faux zigzag or crumbled thread, whatever. And here is a small pocket. Let's take those out. I just decorated it lightly and tucked in some images from the kits that I was using. Just some different ones. And then I also made it a tuck. So there is a journal card hiding in here. So it has a double function, I guess. Here is another journal page or journaling page. Here I have some PET tape on a frame and then this lovely dress. I also included a word. The words that I used, they have no meaning because I don't know French. And the tape that I used was French. So I just added them. They probably have nothing at all to do with the kit or the theme or anything like that. But they look nicely. For example, I think this is just an address. But I felt like it suited the theme of having this quill pen and ink fountain or inkwell. And it looks like really fancy old writing. So that's why I decided to use that there. Here we have another belly band and a journal card with the collaged and stenciled background and just some lace. There we go. And here another attempt to save the flimsiness. So quite a few layers here. And then I added different images from the kit. This also has two pockets. So this one goes above the black layer, and under the black layer I just included different images from the kit. Or my idea was like these are like journal cards or something like that. And I just clipped them in place so that you could take them out one by one. But this goes into the pocket underneath. Once again, so many layers with so little effort, basically. And here is the last page. I have a side pocket, which I already made when I was building this journal. I did this on some pages. There is an opening journal card that goes inside there, and then just really simple decoration with this well, they're pearls, and then this perfume bottle or something like that. And then when I close it, I can just start flipping all over again. Anywho, if you like this project, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing to my channel to see more things like this or different things. I do quite a good assortment of things with paper here on my channel, I would say. thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you taking your time and spending it with me. That's it. I will see you next time, hopefully. Bye for now.